have an idea. So I'm going to take a semi-truck and then cut it in two pieces, and then in the middle, insert a mobile base. So now what I'm left with is a mobile base that happens to be able to drag behind it another mobile base. Now this is going to be the largest land-based mobile base that I ever built in vanilla scrap mechanic, and it's going to be equipped with near enough everything that you'd need to survive in survival. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should build this. It's definitely just more of a test on how good the new physics are, but it's still going to be pretty sick. Oh yeah, and the trailer and the truck are going to be completely separate creations, and I'm going to try and find a way to transmit signals between the two so I can control parts of the trailer using the truck. Okay, I've just placed down my first few blocks, and now we just keep going. Okay, so I've got the general shape of the actual cab. The back is completely open, but basically you get in through this area here, and I might add a door at some point in the future, but that's a future problem. Anyway, we have the first floor here and then the ground floor underneath where the bike is stored, and then over on this side, oh god, it spawns a little bit funny because it kind of glitches into stuff, but on this side through this door is the flyer. And yeah, as for those two vehicles, I basically just cobbled this thing together in about 5 minutes. This isn't the exact one that's in there. The only difference is that that one only has one of these stabilizers, because with two of them it's just way too hard for the bearings to handle. But yeah, it's a pretty good flyer. It flies, it does that stuff, you have all the control you need, and it's got one chest and one fuel container. Obviously you cannot build this in survival because it uses glitch welding, but I don't really care. I'm building this for fun, not for actual survival. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Anyway, as you can see, I've got one wheel inserted, and I'm gonna do the other one right now, so give me a second. So as you can see, I have sort of done like an over wheel steering approach, which I've never actually done before, but it essentially makes the steering more wheel well friendly. And yes, that's what I'm going for. I need to trim these guys down a little bit because they are too obtrusive, but this section doesn't really look great. It's fine. I guess we can just use the new wedges at our disposal and clean that up a lot. Yes, there we go. Look at that. That looks a lot better. Yeah, that's not going to be the final wheel well design. It's going to be a little bit over top, but for right now, that is very nice and looks very good indeed. So yeah, these new wedges are absolutely amazing. I love building with them. And that's probably not going to change anytime soon. For some reason I keep clicking the wrong wedge, but that's fine. Right, let's hook some stuff up and see what happens pretty much. So I have a couple gas engines in here, so we'll have like, I've got 4, so I might as well do 1 per, you know. They're gonna have to be pretty high, aren't they? So yeah, we'll go with that. Right, oh god, we need to actually hook the engines up. That might help. Right, there we go, and we'll do the rest of them just because why not. Okay, that is fine, don't worry about it, it's just flyer doing the flyer stuff. Anyway, in we go. Turning wise, yep, no obstructions. As you can see, the overwheel steering is doing its job. You can see how it's pulling the wheel in as well as pushing it out, and then yeah, we can move. Yeah, we got some power down. Okay, cool, right. Let's adjust some suspension settings because right now they're terrible. Something tells me 7 is going to be the right one. I mean, it's doing something. Oh god. You know what? I'm going to build this thing with the flyer detached just so I can spawn it on the lift easier. Yeah, we'll go with number 7. That's pretty good. Okay. Now for the rear axles, which they're gonna be a little bit trickier because we're gonna need to incorporate the entire like hitching mechanism that's required. So that's gonna be an issue, but I'm just gonna ignore that for now, and we're just gonna build this out a little bit. So we'll make it like 4 blocks longer. Yep, that seems reasonable, and then we'll go out. Alright, look at that. Perfect. Okay, so we'll just close this off. Oh, and if you're liking the content so far, just note that subscribing's free, and so is liking. And this is like the highest effort video that I've ever done, so it would be much appreciated. Okay, we have rear axles now, and I don't have suspension on them because I don't think suspension is a good idea on the rear axles, because the amount of weight that's going to be on them is constantly changing depending on whether or not you have a trailer attached, right? And when it does change, it changes a lot. So if I was to add suspension, then I'd have a whole bunch of inconsistencies when it comes to driving without a trailer and driving with a trailer. So I think I'm just going to ignore all of that and just not have suspension. And I've done the same thing in my survival world. It works great. So yeah, we're just not gonna have suspension on the back. Okay, right, so this thing handles pretty nicely. I activated the thrusters up front when I pressed W. Feel like that was a good idea, especially if we start adding trailers to this thing. Okay, yeah, as long as you're a responsible driver, it's pretty hard to flip as well. You might also notice that there is a lot of, well, not a lot, but a decent bit of detailing done at the front, but pretty much nothing on the sides and back. It's literally just flat. That is what I'm going to work on in a bit. First off, I want to make that door a little bit more of a door, and yeah, then we'll work on the finer details, and I'll come back when that has been mostly finished. So for you guys, this is currently the next thing that you're seeing, obviously, but for me, this is
the next day.
And I've spent quite a while on just this truck. I didn't expect it to take this much time, but it has. Either way, let's just ignore that and head on with the tour of it. So here it is. As you can see, it looks a lot different to when you guys last saw it. Let's quickly get in the air. Yeah, there's a lot more detail. Still not amazing, but you know, I also have a little bit of a test trailer going on just to test out the new thing that I'm working on with transferring signals wirelessly. Let's take a look inside. As you can see, I swapped out the pipe pieces for outward facing pistons just to avoid the collisions, and when I do it that way, in theory, they shouldn't get stuck on anything. But yeah, sliding doors, and then we head on inside. We've got a little bit of detail going on, just like a shelf with random objects on it, and I got rid of the bike because it was too laggy. Right now, as you can see, I'm getting around about 190 to 200 FPS, and that leaves about 150 FPS for me to use on the trailer. I can't believe I'm using FPS as a currency, but that's where we're at in this game, I guess. But yeah, I feel like 150 FPS is pretty good to use on the trailer, and yeah, I've saved quite a lot by getting rid of the bike, and it's not really that useful considering I have a flyer. So yeah, we have this little access area to take a look at the flyer, and we have a little bit of storage. I put some signage up just because we have the right signs in the game. That was quite nice. All the logic, the memory bits are over here. I don't think I told you guys about this, but I've decided to not use any switches, or at least use as few switches as possible. I want to hook everything up to a button and then into a memory bit, because that means I can control this button and its outputs from anywhere in the creation. Obviously not between creations, but you know, within each creation I can control them, you know, without having to shoot it or go to it, which means I can have a single button that turns off all the lights or closes all the doors at the same time, and that's just really easy. So I've decided to make everything nice and modernized, I guess, and everything's using memory bits. So yeah, that's that. As you can also see, we have our second story. In England we'd call this the first floor, but anyway, here we have the cab. I tried my best with the detailing on this. I think it's alright. It does look a little bit strange, but I don't know, it's alright. We have like the gear selector and the handbrake, and then cup holders. I am aware that for trucks this big, the gear selectors and handbrakes are a lot bigger and not really, they don't look like that, but I mean, as far as scrap mechanic is concerned, I don't really know what else I can do. But yeah, we have a little radio for the truckers and stuff, and the driver's seat has like this fancy little headrest. which the passenger seat does not. But yeah, I've got some plants and then a little railing and a nice larger bed than usual. I call this the office just because that was the best sign that fitted. Alarm clock, chest, more memory bits over here, and then you have a little desk with like a keyboard and screen, a suspension mug. We also have these new blinds that I'm just using just because we have the ability now, so that's pretty nice. And yeah, so that's pretty much that, to be honest. And that's the entirety of this super sleeper. This is basically the new wireless transferring of signal system. Right, so this is the little bar that moves over to the right to lock in the trailer and make sure it doesn't move. I made it 2 blocks thick and one of those blocks is apart, which means that there's a very minimal chance that the trailer sort of phases through, which sometimes happens in scrap mechanic. Hopefully it doesn't. But yeah, that's that. And then we have these blocks of spaceship floor. Now, I chose this particular block for a very particular reason. See, if I were to grab this block, so let me just go ahead and pick it up. There we go. Right, now I place a little thing, right? It's this color. Now when I paint it purple, it doesn't even change. Like you can't tell. And I'm pretty sure the devs gave us a block with these properties on purpose so that we could, have a block for whatever thing we needed, right? I'm very grateful for that actually, because I'm using that, I'm relying on that with this. So basically each one of these bars is painted a completely different color. The first one is this one, the second one is this, third one is this, and the fourth one is this. I've skipped this color because this is the color that I use for the glitch welder, and I don't want anything to interfere with that, so I'm gonna skip that color so that it doesn't randomly disappear. That would be pretty annoying. So yeah, the fourth color is that. And then essentially these guys are on pistons, right? There's a piston right there that extends 2 blocks. So when I press a button, this extends 2 blocks. This whole bar extends up by 2 blocks. And then on this example trailer, you can see that we have a massive sensor array. Did I mention that this would be very impractical in survival? If I didn't, then this would be very impractical in survival for obvious reasons. But that's why we're not building it in survival. One of these color sensors, this took a while to make all of them the same color, but anyway, one of these will detect that bar regardless of what angle the trailer is actually on, because there's a line of sensors and a line of blocks. So whatever angle this is on, one sensor at least is going to detect that block rising up. And we have these little pipe pieces here preventing the trailer from going too low to the point where the sensors detect the blocks even when they're not extended. And we have these little hard stops over here also to stop the trailer from going too low to the point where the sensors start detecting the blocks even though they're not extended. Anyway, from here there's only one step forward, and that is to build the rest of the trailer. I have big plans for this trailer, like a full-on automatic defense system and like a farm, like that stuff. Yeah, I have big plans for it, and I should probably get started on building right about now. Okay, so this is the sort of layout that I'm looking at. So you have the ground floor and the first floor, and the craft bot and refined bot probably are going to be sticking out through the little floor in between so that you can access it from both floors, and also height is no longer a restriction if I do it that way. Okay, we're getting 100 FPS still, so this massive chunk of wood sitting on that massive chunk of wood is getting us 100 FPS, and this is without smart physics. So either I have a godly PC or smart physics wasn't entirely that necessary. I'm gonna say that then completely regretting when I added everything else, aren't I? But yeah, this is looking really good. I'm gonna drive it and see how it feels. I purposefully kept the engines relatively low powered to give it the feel that you're chugging along a massive amount of weight. Oh god, that's not good. I didn't have it locked in. Okay, well that makes sense. That makes complete and utter sense. Right, I'm an idiot, right? So I should just be able to back it on up. Oh, look at that. That extra weight has made it so much easier to back it in. And it should be locked and loaded, ready to go. Yep, there it is, perfect. I should add a sensor there, and that triggers a logic gate so I can easily tell when we're good to go. But yeah, we'll press number 6. In theory, please. There we go. Alright, that little issue kind of makes me feel like this isn't going to be as consistent as I want it to be, but we'll find out. That is how much that trailer is tilting right now. Oh my god. I feel like the only reason it isn't flipping is because it's so long and there's so much of the trailer that's still left on the other side. So like, I'm liking the way this is going. I think this is gonna end up looking great. Right, yeah, let's park it on up like here or something and straighten it out. Yeah, There we go. Guys, my recording software crashed. Well, it didn't crash, something happened. So OBS was like bugging. I don't entirely know what happened, but oh, that's interesting. Oh, yeah. So when OBS crashed, it also closed Scrap Mechanic. I initially thought Scrap Mechanic crashed because usually that's the case, let's be real. But no, this time it was OBS. And so I just reloaded the game, so all the logic gates were reset, and that's why the trailer's no longer hooked up. So I was a bit confused. But anyway, things seem to be going fine now. My recording didn't corrupt, and yeah, the Scrap Mechanic save didn't corrupt either, so everything's good, just a little bit of confusion. Right, let's get on with building. Okay, so I've got a basic paint job in just so I can tell what kind of aesthetic we're looking at right now. And can I just say, I barely have any of the logic systems in, and look at how much of a spider web already is. Granted, most of it is just a sensor array, but like all the memory bits and stuff, I mean, this is gonna be ridiculous sooner or later, I can't lie. And we're currently still getting 117 FPS right now, so you know, just having the trailer attached, we're currently again in advanced physics, not smart physics, because that messes everything up. Yeah, we're in advanced physics and we're getting 100 FPS, and we haven't, like, we've done most of the complicated stuff, which is the trailer itself, to be honest. All I need is like the crafting chain, and then I gotta install the deployable mining and logging vehicle. That's gonna take away most of the frames, I feel like. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm gonna start working on the crafting chain. On the interior, as you can see, we have two resource collectors, then a refine bot, which does in fact pull from both of them. It prioritizes this one, but that's fine. Anyway, behind it we have two chests, and then, like I said, it's designed with survival in mind, but not to be able to be built in survival, if that makes sense. This is just for fun. So yes, I did glitch weld the pipes, and I don't really care. So yeah, we've got glitch welded pipes, and there's a bit of a complicated piping network going on, but it all works, okay? It's a massive loop. Every chest can feed into the, not feed in, but be an output for the refine bot and an input for the craft bot, as well as an output for the craft bot. So yeah, it's a nice loop, everything's good. And then we have all these small chests. The way I usually do storage in survival is, first of all, they're all like organized per item, but the small chests are for non-stackable items, and the large chests that are in the storage loop are for the stackable items, or rather the items that actually need to be inputted into the craft bot. Anyway, we have the craft bot here. I should probably upgrade that. There we go. Yeah, we have the craft bot, and then that's all there is for this floor. That's obviously going to change because we need a deployable mining and logging vehicle. Anyway, let's head on back here and then up the stairs. Here we have the roof access again, same thing. And then back here we have a boatload more storage. So the refine bot is like glitch welded into the ceiling. We have a little peephole, I guess, and then it raises up one for the wheels and stuff, and we have a lot more storage, more piping, more non-stackable items and stuff that doesn't feed into the craft bot. And yeah, we have craft bot access up here, as well as refine bot access if for whatever reason we need that. And yeah, this is the little pipe that connects this side to this side, and there's a pipe over top of the craft bot that connects the refine bot to the craft bot. And then, like, if you stare at it for long enough, you'll understand how everything's connected. But it just works, okay? It works. That's all you need to know. Yeah, that's the entire crafting chain. As for the deployable vehicles, well, vehicle actually, I mean, the only space I have left is on the roof, so I guess they'd have to be on the roof. I want to see if there's a way I can avoid that. Obviously, I'd have to remove some storage, which is fine. I mean, this, for a mobile base, I mean, if you're living the nomadic lifestyle, this feels like a little bit too much storage, even for a nomad. Like, I mean, this is insane. So yeah, I'm probably gonna remove some and then replace that, use that extra space for either some aesthetics or that deployable mining, logging combi vehicle. As for the functionality that we have left, I need the defenses. Those are pretty important. I need a way to collect water, oil and chemicals, and I need a way to water the plants. I would ideally go for an automatic farm, but I'm not entirely sure if that's worth the lag. I mean, we're getting 50 FPS while just sitting here, and I was getting, that's the wrong button. I was getting around about 30 FPS while driving. Let's find out actually. So we're at 50 right now. We get going and 43, 41. Okay, 40 FPS. Now 30. Never mind. 27, 20, 24, 30. Okay, yeah, it's hovering from 20 to 30 FPS. Okay, it's a bit choppy, but that's fine. It's perfectly fine, don't worry about it. We need a way to collect all three liquids and water the plants and defend the plants, and we also need different access ways in and out of the trailer apart from just the hatch and these two side doors. I'm planning on having a back door and maybe put a seat up here somewhere so we can teleport up to the top. We got a lot of stuff to do, and the mining and logging vehicle is that as well. We have a lot of stuff to do left, so I guess I might as well just get started on that.
2 days later.
Okay, so it has been a couple days since the last recording, and I think I'm pretty much done with it. There's only one thing left for the trailer, and that is the defense mechanism, because I've added a farm so you can plant your crops and water them easily, but you can't really pick them up if they're all gone after the raid, so we need a way to defend them. But before that, I'm just gonna show you what I've actually done. As for this super sleeper, nothing has really changed much. Same sort of interior, and then like just same upstairs. The only change that I've made really is that I removed the TV because it was having like random spasm attacks and it wasn't looking good. I need to even that out. I'll do that later. Anyway, I also added ammo canisters and I added some guns at the front there, so we have some defense or offense rather if we need it. And then I've added a little beacon over here just because beacons are nice to have. The reason why I held that off so far is because the beacon is just a bit annoying to build with in creative. You can't turn it off, you don't have a logbook, so it's just sort of there the whole time, which is really annoying. But it's fine. And yeah, that's about it for the truck. Next, the actual mobile home. First of all, I don't know if this was here last time, but I added a little sensor setup. So basically, if it doesn't sense any truck pulling it, then it won't let you lower the feet, right? So let's simulate a truck pulling it, right? If you try to close the feet, now all of a sudden it will, and then we let it down all the way. It's hardly too heavy to the point where even all four of those can't push it up, so you need some lift assistance, right? And another thing, if you take the feet down, right? So currently this is basically simulating the truck pulling it along because the feet are down and the sensors are triggering it. However, if the truck comes loose or something like that, then it will try to lift the feet back up again, which it can't really do because of the weight. I need to change that, do something about it. But either way, that's a problem for later. So let's open the door and hop on inside. So we've got some ammo canisters for the defense system. We have cooking area, more ammo canisters, some storage. This is the logic bay where pretty much all the logic is located. I've got some color coded stuff. So white is input, this white logic gate is for lights, this is the other lights logic gate, and then we have close all doors, exterior lights, interior lights. Right, this is a switch for the hatch. We have some stuff for that hatch over there, and then the curtains and stuff. Unfortunately, even with the survival pods in creative mode, cook pots are still completely not functional. They don't even have the animation, they have 0 code, so it's a bit annoying, but it's fine. We have a seats over here to teleport up to the top. I think I've already shown that though. Anyway, that's all there is over here. We have roof access through this as well. We have a new mining and logging vehicle. It's pretty simple. I'm sure you can tell how it works. I might change this to be something a little bit different because this is currently even width, and as you can see it's off center, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, this is essentially how it works. It doesn't really need much explaining, but yeah, that's the mining vehicle. Yeah, I need to I need to do something about that. Anyway, this is also the spot where you can store package crates. I counted it, and you can have about 18 of them stored over here, and if you double it up, then obviously you can have 36. So that's always nice. Can I please? Thank you. It's a problem with 3 wide staircases. Anyway, right, go around and we have a little detail area. This is where the beacon's located, just because I couldn't find much of a better spot really. Anyway, hop over the refinery. We have tons of storage, tons more storage, and then a seat over here to get up to the top again. So now let's head back down here. So resource collectors, refine bot, more storage, more storage, more storage. This is a craft bot. This is a little seat where if you're outside of the trailer, you can reach right underneath this little sign, and if you get the right angle, you should be able to just hop in and you can teleport into the trailer. It's a bit finicky, but you know, it's fine. Anyway, craft bot, I've already mentioned that like 7 times. We have a little dressing area, which let me see if I can find a good angle. Yeah, that one's decent. Okay. Yeah, and then we have our little input chest for the vacuum pump underneath right there. And then over here we have the farm. It's a pretty simple automatic farm. These aren't for teleporting in. These are just little stepping stools for that. And then yeah, let's start the farm just so you guys can see what it does. So the back door just opens with a simple bearing, and then it extends, and then it comes all the way back again. The thing with this though is that it's slightly annoying. Sometimes it gets pulled in just fine, other times it gets stuck, so you have to give the thing a block update and then it gets unstuck. It's just a bit annoying, but it's fine. I might actually add a little feature here that triggers this logic gate here. So essentially when I press that switch, when I press this button, it will activate the spud gun thing, so give the entire trailer a block update. Let's see if that works. Yeah, I heard it. Okay, so that is gonna be a much more streamlined way of doing it now. That's nice. I should probably add a couple more of those outside as well, because I'm not usually going to be operating in it. Anyway, you might have noticed that despite this being full of seeds, it didn't plant anything. That's because this was dot toggled. When you wanted to plant stuff, then you press this. When you wanted to just go out, pick everything up and come back in, then you just press this without toggling this on. And that's pretty much how the farm works. Pretty simple. There are water cannons at the very end, as you can see right there. Perfect. And yeah, that's the entire trailer. So yeah, the only thing left now is to add a defense mechanism. I don't really like the movement and how you get stuck on stuff, but you know, what can you really expect, to be honest. I've dotted light switches around the place for easy access. Oh, that seat does actually have a purpose. I'm sure you could guess what that purpose is. Essentially, if you're over here, instead of going all the way to the staircase, you can just teleport through here. Perfect. And if you want to go down, you can teleport through there. So it's yeah, it's pretty fast to navigate with the seats and stuff. There's another one over here, so you can teleport here. Oh yeah, and there's also holes on the floor and ceilings upstairs, so you can access most of the storage from pretty much anywhere in the creation, which is very neat, I can't lie. Yeah, I think I've already gone over why I don't care about the glitch welding part. Oh, and as for frames, I had to ditch advanced physics because obviously, as you'd expect, this got far too much, and I'm currently on simple 8 because even smart physics was a bit too laggy, and I had to ditch all forms of suspension, even the piston. So this whole creation is now fully rigid. The only tiny bit of flex you might get on the wheels is from the drive and steering bearings. Other than that, it's completely rigid, which is very annoying that I had to sacrifice all forms of suspension, but it is what it is. And considering the trailer has no suspension either, this entire rig is fully rigid, so not ideal. But I guess the pivot point in the middle at least serves as a little bit of damping. The wedges are supposed to make it easy, but evidently that is not happening right now. Please, oh my god, thank you. Right, perfect. And then we do that, and that thing retracts, and then we can press number 4 and all the doors will close. Perfect, wonderful. And as you can see, we're going down to 20 FPS when driving. It's still secure, doesn't really want to let loose at all. It's still in there pretty nice. I've tested it on off-road. It's a bit of a nightmare because it high centers really easily because I had to ditch all suspension and pistons, but that's just how it is, I guess. Again, it's not really built for survival, it's built to test the new physics. So yeah, The last thing that's kind of new is these things. So basically you rotate it downwards. I'm sure you can guess what it is by this, but essentially if I do one of these and delete all of that, I can get myself a hammer, and then let's see how smoothly I can do this. Oh, there we go, perfect. That was nice. Obviously it's not going to be this easy in survival because there's hills and stuff, but ignoring that, you just press this button and oh dear, perfect, that's it. So now it's pretty secure in there. It won't really come loose that easily, and it's a pretty efficient way of doing things. Just let them down. Perfect. There's also another one on the other side, so you can carry 2 caged farmers, and if you're pushing it, you can carry 36 food crates all at the same time. And here's our little vacuum pump system here. The red is the water. I probably should make that blue actually, but either way, if you press the red button here, that starts pumping in. Press the grey one, then the grey one starts pumping in, just like that. And we have some buttons to control the farm outside as well. I should add that same grey button to activate the spud gun thing. I'll hook that up later, but yeah, that's pretty much all I've done. And I'll see you back when I have my defenses.
6 hours later.
Okay, I'm so incredibly close to having this thing finished. I've currently fitted it with freedom. And essentially the only thing left to do is hook it all up. I did go ahead and replace the mining and logging vehicle with another vehicle that I happen to just have on my lift. This one has a built-in refinery, but I had to remove the suspension. So basically every vehicle in this entire collection here is completely suspensionless apart from the flyer, which just uses the glitches. But that's fine. Either way, let's get this logic done. The reason why not having suspension isn't actually that bad of a thing is because when you have so much weight on top of your creation, you don't actually bounce as nearly as much as you would otherwise. So it really doesn't matter in my opinion. Okay, so the roof is now your base of operations when it comes to raids. So you have the arm and disarm defenses. This tells you whether it's armed or disarmed. We have exterior lights, which are nicely blueprint edited, and we have close all doors. So in case the front door is wide open or something, you can just hit this button and it will close every door in the entire trailer, so you don't have to worry about any bots getting inside, even though they can't because you kind of have to jump to get inside. But anyway, I still have that feature available. We also have a couple seats here so that in theory I can get up from the very bottom, and as well as that I can get up through these little slits at the very end of the trailer. Perfect. So now I don't have to rely on the stairs, and that's also very nice because with a trailer as long as this, the stairs quite a way away because they're right at the start. Yeah, and with that, the entire creation is now officially complete. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I made a bunch of changes to this hitching mechanism because it just kept falling apart. So I added a whole other layer of reinforcements to make sure it pretty much never comes out again, and other than that the rest of it is pretty much the same. I also added this little button over here so you can toggle on and off the little latch just because you might need it, I don't know. Okay, so after a few final modifications, it's time to finally test this thing. But before that, I have to go over what those modifications actually are. So first of all, you might notice these wheels on the bottom. That's obviously to prevent high centering, and it also means that when you spawn it on the lift and the feet are up, these wheels mean that it can now lift itself up using just the feet. That's also helped by the fact that there's a lot more weight at the back, which kind of offsets the weight at the front, but I don't think that's as significant. Anyway, moving in, you can see that the layout of everything is pretty much the same, and during the demo I'm actually going to go through the farm and exactly how it works. And finally, the mining and logging vehicle. So let's start with just that. First thing you do is get into the seat so that you can jump onto the back and then disconnect it. It's going to be a bit laggy, but you can just put it down, and now it's separated, so you just get up to your rock node. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with the lighting, but ignoring that, here's our vehicle and there's a rock node, so let's go ahead and harvest it. So first thing you do is press 1 and it does that. Number 2 turns them on, and number 3 does this thing. And essentially you just go up to it and, well, it it doesn't last very long, to say the least. And with this last little section, that should be the last of it. Okay, so once you're done, you just drive all the way back to the vehicle, and then you place a single piece of caution block, grab your weld tool, and then head on in up to the top floor and weld. So now it's just gonna sort of stay here, and it's gonna keep refining as well. And from that tiny little rock node we got a decent amount of stone. As for the logging aspect, well, as you can see in this chest, we have 2 saw blades, and with these 2 saw blades, you essentially replace these 2 with saw blades and then remove the rest of the drills, and then you can imagine how it can very easily become a pretty competent logging vehicle as well, albeit not as good as a mining vehicle, but you know, it's still there. Okay, so this is a 4x12 plot, and essentially you place a 5-tool pillar in this exact position, and then you do this so that you gain access to this point where you can weld the trailer right next to the farm, just like so. And once you've done that, you can press the plant button and then tell it to go, and it should just extend, plant everything, and then retract. The reason why it fired an extra 2 is because it's just inconsistent. It's mostly because of fan mod physics. I tested this in creative and it was working normally, so not entirely sure what's going on there, but it's fine. Anyway, once you finish planting, you can disconnect the trailer from the pillar, and once you've done that, you can just reconnect it using this point right here. Now, depending on what kind of raid you have, you might want to turn this down to 4 blocks so that it's a bit lower and the guns have a higher chance of hitting the enemies. That's what I've done. And now we just wait for a raid, I guess. Okay, so a raid is coming any second now. I'm just gonna close the doors. Might as well turn the lights on, and we'll turn the defenses on as well. So let's see how this performs. The lights are actually a bit too much. Let's turn them down. So that one's dead. Those 2 are dead. That one's also dead. The tote bots seem to be approaching from the corner, which isn't ideal, but dead. I don't know which way that one's gonna go. Back or side. Yeah, essentially, if they approach the sides, then they're gone. And if they approach the back, then they're also pretty gone. Okay, so let's try a slightly higher... Oh my god. Anyway, let's try a slightly higher level raid. Okay, this raid might be overkill, but we'll see how it goes. Even I don't know what it's gonna do in this situation. So we haven't used too much ammo. Definitely used a considerable amount though. Stuff's happening outside. Alright, let's have a look then. Interesting. I think I missed the entire raid. Nothing seems to have happened. You know, the back... Oh, the haybots are a bit confident. Okay, so this is, I believe, the highest level raid, but I'm not entirely sure. I also don't know what that thing is, but I do not like it. Oh my god. Oh my... Bro. Okay, I'm cooked. I am so cooked. Bro, what the hell? Oh my god. This is the true test, right? Can we survive the explosions? Kind of. I mean, we're struggling. We are definitely struggling. The tape bots are also not ideal. Oh my god, this is... Oh my god. Bro, okay. I wasn't quite expecting this. This is kind of ridiculous. Let's get on top here. See if we can maybe kill a few tape bots, maybe, because they are quite annoying. Oh my god, where even are they? I can't even see them. Are most of them dead? Is that why? Are we out of ammo? Is that also why? Hold on, we might actually be out of ammo here. Yeah, I'm out of ammo. Let's go on this side. Yeah, they just have free reign. Okay. Ammunition is a bit of an issue. We need more of it. Okay, we killed another big guy, and the other big guy is getting shot at currently. I feel like I should join in here. There we go, it's dead. Okay, that was 3 big guys, I think. And he's blown up. And he also blew up the haybot. Okay, I think that's everything. We can disarm that. Let's turn the lights on. That still works. Okay. Right, let's assess the damage, which I have a funny feeling there's going to be a considerable amount of it. So it was mainly from this side. They took out a chunk here. They got a lot of the crops. Okay, that's not ideal. What else did they do though? I don't think they did anything else apart from this chunk and the pipe pieces. Sure, that's negligible. Yeah, they didn't do anything else. Oh, this guy missed the raid. I hear a tape bot, and I don't like it. Yo guys, where's the tape bot? Oh, there you are. Okay, well this one's a bit stupid, isn't it? Surprise tag! I don't want to talk about how many times I missed that. Anyway, right, onto this side. Again, no significant damage is particularly visible. They didn't really, okay, let's check the interior. There's probably going to be some hints of damage inside, right, surely? So here, just a block of wood, that's it. And then everything else is completely fine. So durability wise, it's actually really good despite being made of wood. Even the explosions, they didn't really do anything. I think this was from an explosion, and this is obviously explosion resistant. So yeah, I mean, they disconnected it. They broke these things, but ideally you'd make that out of tier 3 metal. I just didn't. Oh god, no, don't explode, please. Hey, come here. Come this way. Do I get damage from this? Yes, I do. Okay, well, I learnt a decent bit from that. Using your trailer as a defense mechanism isn't very effective for protecting your crops, but it does protect the trailer pretty well. I mean, they just shredded through a whole bunch of bosses. The only thing is that they used a lot of ammo. But anyway, that's about all I have for today, and I'll see you next time. See you.